Okay, so this is so funny. I'm assuming that you guys can see me. Am I correct? Because for some reason, there was no video, and there should have been. So that's always fun to start off with. First off, but anyways, thank you for coming and for being here this evening. And you guys, I have teeth and I can smile. I'm such a dork. I understand. I am quite the dork, but I have not had teeth in my mouth for a month and I have missed smiling. So we are gonna go with it, and y'all are just y'all are in for it now because y'all ain't never gonna shut me up. But we have a great guest for you this evening, and it is one that was requested in Discord. And coincidentally, he reached out to me via email saying, "Hey, I've never been on your show." So I was like, "Well, come on, let's be this and do this." So um Wayne's not here. So we're going to take the show and we're going to run with it just like we did Tuesday. And it's going to be a blast because he told me that he talks a lot, and y'all know I talk a lot. So this is going to be a fun show. I have pictures to show you that he's going to get into, and it's going to be great. But we got to do that stinky pay the bills thing. But first, oh my God, y'all, 4 days. 4 days. The conference is July 26th from 9 to 6, and we are going to be there. We're talking about it in the chat. Y'all can go on and read it in there. I am so excited. I am going to spend my 45th birthday, which is Friday the 25th, with all of my family and all of my friends, and I'm ecstatic about it. So, but I don't want to gab yap too long. We got to pay the bills. So just bear with me. If you are new with us this evening, please consider subscribing. Our numbers are growing. I don't do the show for numbers or ratings or whatever. We want to get the truth out there. We do this for that purpose. So every time you hit the subscribe button, or every time we get somebody to hit the subscribe button, it helps the show. So please consider doing that. If you would like to be on the show, you can reach out to Wayne at paranormalworldproductions.com or me, Tiffany at paranormalworldproductions.com, and we can get you scheduled. We are booking for August, so the time is now because they go so fast. Speaking of paranormalworldproductions.com, please go over there. There is so much stuff that you can experience on this website. You will find a link to this show, Sasquatch Odyssey, all the true crime shows. It's just a whole gamut of everything. So please consider going over there. Please put all your questions in capital letters. I know that there will be questions, and I love your questions. And I seemingly miss some questions every show I do solo because it's hard to keep up with the chat. However, if you put them in capital letters, I have a better chance of seeing them and grabbing them. Head over to manimalresearch.org. This is the organization that Wayne founded in 2019 because he was sick and tired of all the BS. When you go there, you will find a contact form. If you want to join Manimal Research, you can find merch over there. If you're having any kind of activity on your property, you can fill out that contact form and somebody will get back in touch with you. And I say it every time I'm on here. Chris Blaylock has done an amazing job with that. She has done an amazing job handling that whole thing. So thank you for that, Chris. If you want to become a member, please consider becoming a member to the show. I say it often, and I mean, I absolutely mean it from the bottom of my heart. It says channel member, but it's family member. And we do everything we can for the $1.99 to give you the extra perks. We do the Discords, we do members only lives. You guys are notified first of who our guests are going to be, just a whole slew of things. And $2 is $2. It's not that much. However, when you have enough $2, it's enough to quote unquote pay the bills so we can get everything, the lights stay on, so to speak. But I just want to say to everybody out there, whether you've had an encounter, whether you've had some kind of experience, the Bigfoot community can be a toxic place. And we all know that. And we all know that people have mouths that are bigger than they should be. But when you come to us and you come to the Bigfoot Report, you are literally a family member. So if you just want to talk, you don't want to be on the show, we're here for that as well. But do consider becoming a channel member for only $1.99 a month. And we would appreciate it. And you'll see at the bottom, the Cash App and Venmo. We do accept super stickers. If you want to throw a super sticker in there, I will throw it up on the screen and let the world know. And we love those too. The Cash App and the Venmo is simply there because it doesn't have as many fees. You guys don't have to pay as many fees as YouTube takes. And it's just a win-win for everybody. Again, if you just want to do super stickers, we're good with that as well. And if you don't want to do anything but subscribe, I'm there for that too. So without further ado, our guest is Mr. Kyle Deshane. And I know that you guys know him. You've either heard of him or you've seen him on other podcasts or you've watched his podcast. I heard of him, of course, through Brian King Sharp and his stay in Radium with Kyle and his dad, Richard. And if I'm not mistaken, I saw Richard in here. So thank you for coming. So we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good talk. We're going to look at pictures. So let's get on that and welcome it out. There is a tiny delay. So just keep that in mind. What's up, Kyle?
How's it going?
It is going. I just want to say thank you, first off, for being here, and your dad's here.
There he is.
Yep. So, but yeah, thanks for coming and for sharing everything with us.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're down for the Bigfoot stuff. So let's get into it. How did you become engulfed in this world?
So I think it kind of started off really when I was young, watching like Monster Quest and stuff like that on TV. Firstly following, Jeff Meldrum and all his studies, and eventually getting into, just kind of whatever I could, podcasts and shows, and, Finding Bigfoot came out, which I don't want to give them too much light. But that was big because the Bigfoot community wasn't at least that big in my life. And when that show came out, that kind of like kickstarted it, that there was actually some sort of way to get into it, that kind of level, so that's kind of really what kicked it off. Right when I was about 17 or 18, my dad and I went on a hunting trip up in the Adirondacks, and that was my first actual encounter with a Sasquatch. And ever since then, I got even further into it. I ended up reaching out to Todd Standing, and he called me. Got a phone call from Todd Standing. So him and I ended up becoming very close friends. I went up to Radium and spent a week up there. Had an amazing time. Had a couple sightings in the past few years since I've been there. And it's kind of turned out to where now I'm doing expeditions with people. Brian King Sharp from Sasquatch Odyssey was actually the first person that I've taken out there and guided in that research area. And it turned out amazing. I had a great time. It was awesome to get to know him on a personal level, and also just kind of show him the things that I had been telling him about and telling the world about on my podcast. and just proving to him, hey, this isn't all bull, like this. I actually had him do a tree break, and he's got the video of it somewhere.
Yeah.
I recorded him doing it, but I kind of showed him what it takes to do a tree break, and to show him that it's not necessarily a natural thing in whatever state that we find them in. So that was big, at least for me, to just kind of get that out there. And just to be out in nature is huge. Just getting out there, putting your hands in the water, breathing that fresh air in. That's what it's really about. The Bigfoot come with it. So that's what I'm about. And I hope most people that are in it are the same reasons. We just kind of get to come and share our experiences, compare what we have and the experiences that we have, and maybe draw up a conclusion from it.
Right. And I'm so glad that, there's so many people who shy away from sharing it because of all the, the toxicity that comes, or the,
Right.
You're full of shit. This is not really, this is all in your head. And it really hinders everything.
100%. But I mean, if you look at it from the opposite side, where you have PhDs involved in it.
Well, he was having issues with his connection. So he's probably scrambling right now. He's probably like, oh my God. Oh, I told him, we were sitting in the back, and I told him, he said, I don't have very good connection right now. So he had moved his phone because, oh, there he is. Hold on. We might be getting him back. But he had moved his phone from where he had it over to the window because he's working off of his hotspot. So there you are. Are you there?
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Technology. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was saying. So, like if you look at Jeff Meldrum, for instance, I mean, his whole life is on the line for when it comes to Bigfoot, and he dedicated his life to it. And I think he's got a couple sons now that are involved in it or getting involved in it, from what I understand. So that's huge. I mean, you're talking about people who are really putting their life on the line over something that doesn't exist to some people,
Yeah.
So I think that just kind of goes to show that the toxicity in the Bigfoot community is really just from people who don't want to understand and don't want to learn about it.
Yeah, that's very well put. They don't want to take the time to do their own research. They don't take the time to go out into the woods to look and see and verify for themselves what it is they hear everybody on podcasts talk about.
Yep.
They just slam it.
I think a lot of it too is nowadays. I mean, you can download podcasts and listen to them in the car and stuff like that. So you've gained a lot of accessibility to the Bigfoot community, and now that a lot more people can be involved in it, a lot more people can listen in and hear the stories. I think they're the kind of people that are like, oh, that there's no way that's happened. I've been in the woods for 50 years and never heard a branch break or anything like that. And it happens to,
it does.
I can imagine, a lot of people, and I can't necessarily blame them for questioning it. It's good that they're questioning it. But maybe still having an open mind would probably help those people too. At least help the Bigfoot community.
Right. Well, carrying some form of skepticism is healthy. I mean, you can't believe everything every Joe Schmo tells you.
Exactly.
So having that level of skepticism is healthy to do. Would you mind telling us about your first Bigfoot encounter?
Yeah, absolutely. Back in, I'm not sure what year it was. I was 18, somewhere around 18. My dad and I went on that hunting trip up in the Adirondacks. We ended up spending a couple nights out there. So like the last night we were there, we ended up kind of just trying to do like a little bit of a night hunt, like just before dusk or just before dark. So we got out there, we separated And I found a spot off the trail that was kind of nice and open. It was kind of like a circle of trees. I sat on the edge of it hoping, because there was deer trails, there's fresh snow on the ground, maybe an inch or two, and there was fresh deer sign kind of going through there. So I figured I'd stay here and wait till it gets dark and then I head back to the trail, because it was pretty much right behind me, maybe 25, 30 yards. And my dad continued down the trail, I'm assuming to kind of cut in a little bit further and maybe scare something up towards me. I'm not sure where he went. Anyway, it was about 25, 30 minutes later, and I'm sitting there. Nothing's moving, no sound. There's no birds. It's just starting to get dark. And on the other side of the trees, on the other side of the clearing, it just started, I just started hearing branches break. And it started getting progressively louder, which caused me to think that something was kind of coming through the woods, and something big coming through the woods, like a bear. The Adirondacks are known for the bears. I thought something was coming in towards the clearing where I was. So I freaked out a little bit, and I picked up my gun, and I'm looking kind of through my scope, waiting for something to pop through the branches of the trees. Nothing ever came through the trees. I never saw anything. The only thing I heard were big branches, and like it sounded like trees being smashed apart and broken apart. Boom, bang, smash. And it sounded like it was right there. So I'm starting to shake, because I'm like, okay, any second now something huge is going to come through that tree, or maybe it's like moose fighting or something like that. But I didn't hear any like knocking, like horns hitting each other or anything like that. So I'm starting to think, like, what is that? What's making that noise? Or, I don't hear any heavy breathing. I don't hear any grunting. I don't hear any footfalls. What could that be? What's going on over there? And then I heard the whoosh, bang, smash, whoosh, bang. And I was like, that's trees or branches being swung through the air. There's no wind or nothing, and hitting whatever it's hitting and breaking apart. And then I go, oh, I think I know what that is, but I'm too afraid to go over there and find out. And right about that point, my dad came running in behind me, and he's looking at me, and I'm ghost white. And he's like, what's that? What's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And it stopped. And never saw anything. We never heard anything more after that. So we just decided to leave, and we headed home, I'm pretty sure, that night. And we never talked. My dad and I are very, very close. I've said this a lot in my podcast. He's, the person that I can go to for anything, any reason. If I have any problems in life, I can just ask him, and he'll give me a straight shot answer. And him and I have always been super, super close like that. We didn't talk about it, which is weird. We never did. Couple years later, I sat down and I watched Todd Standing's documentary, Finding Bigfoot. And I watched it was like 3 hours. I watched the whole thing. My dad got home from work, and I was like, Dad, watch this. So he sat down. I rewatched it again with my dad. And when it was over, I looked at him, I'm like, you remember that time in the Adirondacks? And he's like, you don't have to say anymore. I know what you're talking about. And I think so too. Yeah. I was like, all right, fair enough. I guess that was the first encounter. And where I'm from, up in the Catskills in New York, there's not much of that stuff going on. You hear some old stories back in the day, but there's really no sign or anything like that. So it was close to home for me, being that I was like into the books and into the shows, into the movies and stuff like that. But not to where I could just go out in my backyard and learn about it and try to invoke something like that. So unfortunately I had to travel a little bit to get my other encounters to happen, but they were well worth the flight.
Well, that's awesome. And let's get into some of these pictures, because I'll throw one up here and you just get into it.
All right.
That one's pretty interesting. When you sent me that one and I looked at him last night, I was like, I mean, compared to you, how tall are you? Just to give some perception.
So that's not me. I'm 5'8", 5'9". That's Todd Standing. And he's 6'1" or 6'2" in that picture. And that was actually in New York while we were filming the next documentary series for Finding Bigfoot. I ended up reaching out to him, like I said, and he called me back, and he flew out to New York and slept on my couch. I took him to the exact spot where I had that encounter with my dad. and showed him the area and everything like that. And that was one of the tree breaks we found on right next to the trail. That is, I think, 14 feet, close to 14 feet up in the air. And there's one that's directly on the other side of the trail, right to my back. That's 10 feet off the trail, same as this one, but it's pointed the opposite direction, but it's the same exact height. And as you can see, there's no deadfall. There's a deadfall over on the side, but that's a way older tree. There's nothing around it. There's nothing that fell on it. It's just laid down into the grass or into the weeds. And same with the one on the other side. So we found that very, very interesting, especially right next to a trail. It's a very popular hiking trail. And it's wild to think that people just walk right past those things and never really question it. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there for the pictures.
Well, and I think it's because they're either not open to the subject or they're just not, privy to all the conversation. But I mean, how tall do you think, if you're counting in the height, let's say, and then you have to factor in the arm reach, how tall do you think something would have to be able to do that? If that's 14 feet, that'd be pretty damn tall.
Yeah, we're talking 9 or 10 feet and 4 feet of arm length at that point, to grab above, to have the leverage to pull it down and hold it in a certain, because tree breaks, there's a certain way you have to break a tree in order for it to break like that. Understand that there's no marks on that tree. There's no pressure points. There's no, like I said, there's no deadfall on it. There's no splintering up top. That means it's a pressure break. So something had to have pressed on both sides, but also held in the middle to allow it to fracture without splitting apart like a barber chair, basically. And it's also most of the tree breaks that we do find, and we're talking about in Alabama, in Canada, in New York, in Florida. The tree breaks, they're broken that certain way, and there's like hinge meat left, basically, where there's still half an inch of wood that's still holding together. Most of the time, if they barber chair apart, they just split or they just fall off or anything like that. This is very, very specifically broken that way to stay there. There's actually a tree break in Radium right next to our camp spot. I think it's like 8 or 10 years old, and it finally just kind of broke off the top last year or the year before. So it's wild to think that it can last that long, but there's no real natural way for it to happen like that.
Yeah, because was that tree dead, or is that?
No, that was live. So you can see where the top goes into the ground, where the leaves were and still kind of are dead, hanging on to the branches, which would indicate that was alive when it fell, potentially.
That's crazy. Another one that you sent me that I found interesting, because this one looks like it kind of is twisted. Is that right?
Yeah, so that is specifically what I'm talking about with the tree breaks. As you can see, it's a very, very clean break. It's actually not twisted. I think more so when it landed, it kind of twisted a little bit from the top, and that's what's giving it that. But if you look really closely at this picture, this is what really boggles my mind about tree breaks and gives me such a hard time, is if you look in the middle of that tree break, there's a little stub sticking out. And if you look around the top and around the bottom part, really close, the bark is perfect. There's no finger marks. There's no rubbed bark. There's nothing. It looks like it just snapped like that. And you can ask Brian, when he did his tree break, how much pressure and how much weight he had to put on that in order for it to break. And it was a smaller tree than this.
Yeah, I remember seeing that video, and it was smaller in circumference than that one.
Right. So at some point, if you grab it very close and try to put your knee on it or something like that to try to break it, you're going to leave marks. Whether it's gloves or a machine or, your boot, whatever the case, you're going to scratch the bark off in some aspect or peel it off. And there's none of that here. And you can see, like I said, right in the middle of the break where that little stub sticks out. There's no, how do you describe that? How do you explain that?
Right. How do you explain that? Right.
there's no branches broken leading up to the break. There's no branches broken leading down to the break, which would indicate that nothing slid down over top of it, or there's no animal like a moose or mule deer that came and rubbed on that tree and caused it to break with its antlers, because there's no rub marks on it.
Right.
So it's I don't understand it, but that's what we happen to see all over the place in our research areas.
Right.
I don't really have a way of describing it. Honestly, I have no idea how they do it. I just find it absolutely fascinating. And
Yeah, because you
that's
see
why I
these
try to
all
push
the
the tree
time.
breaks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
How many people have you talked to on this show that have talked about tree breaks?
a gazillion. I've been on this show for 2
exactly.
years.
Yeah.
A gazillion.
Right. Yeah.
All right. This
I think there's a couple more pictures of some tree breaks in here.
It is. Mm-hmm. This one?
Yes, that one. That's another one that I really wanted to include too, because as you can see, there's no rub marks on it from antlers. There's no rub marks on it from anything. No trucks driving by. It's off in the woods. There's no trails right next to it, anything like that. Again, a relatively clean break. It's a really young tree. It's very live, as you can see. It's only a couple days old at this point, maybe. And again, if you zoom in, there's branches very, very close to the breaking point, and the bark isn't bothered whatsoever. Right. So if you try to grab it up top and pull down, you're going to splinter the wood, which means that's a pressure break, which means you'd have to have your hands in it or whatever you were using to break that in a very specific location in order to break it like that. And as you can see, there's no marks on it. So
yeah,
here I am.
And yeah, exactly. So why, in your opinion, Kyle, do you think they do that?
That's going to be a long answer. So the only thing that I can deduce from it is that it's very important regardless of what it is or what it means. Because they're the masters of the wilderness. They live in the woods. They live and breathe the outdoors in the wilderness, right? So if they're so in tune and so in depth and so in love and they live out there for that reason, because they're so close with nature, why would you go out of your way to kill a tree or do damage to nature in that way? So it's specific in maybe a way that it means something, but it's what it means is I'm not sure. Whether it's pointing to something or a trail or where people are, or it's don't come past here. I don't know, but it's significant, whatever it is and whatever it means.
Right. And I say it all the time, but it's all up for speculation because nobody knows. But I ask because my husband had an encounter in 2021 here on our property. Not saying 100% was a Bigfoot, okay, but we've just ruled everything else out. But I'm asking because we live on a downslope on a mountain. So at the bottom of our yard, we have a strip that I call the Amazon jungle. And at that time I went out to sit on the deck, and I had noticed that you could see the very bottom of our yard. And during the summer, you can't because it's all grown up in that area. So I had went down there because I was like, I shouldn't be able to see this. And so when I walked down there to look at it closer, it was like near the fence, which is where his encounter happened. It was like this area of just pushed down, just grass and weeds and all this stuff. But we had those really tall, like milk plants, and they were snapped over in half in that one area, all of them. The rest of that whole strip was untouched, but those milk weeds were like completely bent over in half, pointing to our creek that's across the street. So I'm always just curious, trying to get others' opinions on what that, could be.
So typically I try to go into things with an open mind, obviously, but more so of like, okay, what's the practical, probable reason for this to be? And my first initial thought would be, oh, it's probably, you know, like a bedding area for deer or for a bear or something like that. I don't know where you
Mhm.
live, but regardless, that's what I would think. But the milkweeds bent over and
Yeah,
pointing in the same direction
in the
towards a
same
water
direction.
source.
Yes.
That's weird.
And
That's weird.
that's where we were. We're like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because if you walk over just a little ways, you're at our chain link fence. And that's where he was standing, when it huffed or gruffed at him and took off. It's not that far away. So I'm like, are you stepping over our chain link fence, and are you in our yard? And if so, how come there's no footprints? But
Yeah.
I
Have you
I
had
like
anything happen since?
not since 2021. We had some,
Okay.
wild things happen within that time period. But nothing since. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. It's all very strange. But speaking of footprints, let's talk about that one.
Yes. Yes. So this is in New York. Another amazing thing that I found there. I love finding Bigfoot tracks. It's like my favorite thing to do.
Of
In
course.
Radium, there's so many of them. I spend days and days just showing people the tracks and
Mhm.
explaining to them how it works. But that's my foot for comparison. I wear a size 10. And I had put all my weight in that footprint
Mhm.
before I took that picture. And as you can see, my heel sunk in maybe about half the depth of that track.
Yeah.
And you can, if you look a little bit more like right towards the top of that picture, that's actually where the toes are. So it's a lot more significant than you would, see if you were just kind of looked at it quick. But that's a very, very deep print. And when you step in it, it's solid. There's no push on it. There's no little bit of sponge left in it. It broke through the moss and crushed it all completely down to the ground.
Well, and that's saying a
Which,
lot, because moss is
yeah,
hard to.
right. Right. And I'm not a big guy. I'm like 130, 140 with, clothes on and stuff. But if I jump on it and I can't get it to even show a track, or let alone rip the moss, something very, very heavy step there. I
Yeah.
guess it's one of those things where impressions are only impressions. I can't say that this is for sure a Sasquatch footprint, because I'm not going to be that guy, but I find it very interesting that there's so much weight in a certain position to make that track, and I couldn't fake it. So
Right. Well, and it looks like it's a right foot, and it
right.
does look like you can see the big toe up there.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
mean, I'm seeing what you're seeing.
Yeah. And it's a very narrow track too, which will lead into the next kind of part with this, these pictures that I've sent to you. What I've noticed and what I've learned from Todd standing is there is kind of a way to tell the differences between, like, I guess, gender when it comes to male and female tracks. The female tracks seem to be more slender, and the male tracks seem to have a narrow heel and then widen out quite a bit at the top where the toes are.
Right.
And we've been able to deduce that with the sightings we've had, the people we've had around who just know that troop specifically, and then we go back in there the next day and we find impressions that go along with, okay, we think it was this being or this specific Sasquatch, and these are the tracks that we see whenever they or she or he is around, and this is a new one because we know this area. So this is clearly done, the night before. Therefore, it's her track or their track.
Right. So speaking of the narrowness of it, would you be referring to this picture maybe?
I'll wait for it to load.
Oh, sorry. You gotta love the connection issues. Is it just on your side you're not seeing?
Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. I think I know which one you're talking about, though.
It's the one where your hand's in it.
Yeah. So that another one, very deep impression, very solid when you step in it to try to feel the depth on it. There's no give whatsoever. It's straight solid soil underneath of it. Again, I step next to it to try. Yes, to try to get that pack down, and I couldn't do it. You can see the toe rips out too in that one.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I don't know how to gauge my hand size. I just kind of did that because I didn't have
Right.
anything else at the
Right.
time. But that was in New York also. Another amazing impression that I show to a lot of people. And that again is right off of the trail. It was literally, we looked over and there's an impression right there on the bank. It was, you couldn't ask for a more clear one or have to go hunting for a track. It was right there.
And see, if people would just get out there, if they would get out there first, okay, and then second, if they would take their nose out of their phone, because you see that. So I mean, you're in nature. You're like, I mean, put your phone down. They would see this stuff.
The problem that I have with tracks, in all honesty, though, is I find them in places like that. There's a lot of like sphagnum moss or just moss in general, and you can't cast them. There's no way to cast them because the cast material just runs out underneath in the moss. So like anytime I find really good tracks, it's always in the moss. It's never anywhere else. And that's one of my goals is I really want to cast my own track that I found. But apparently it's not my time yet. So we'll just give it a couple more years, hopefully.
I'm sure it'll come around. I'm sure it will. All right, I'm gonna throw this picture up here, and I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see it. But it is the picture you sent me with the mountain in the back. It's like a postcard.
Oh yeah. That's one of the pictures I included strictly just to look how beautiful that is. That's one of the views going up to the upper Radium site where Todd and Survivor Man film the top of the head of the Sasquatch. That's that trail to get up to that spot. And you look back and that's what you see. If that doesn't get you out and make you want to get out there in nature and just be out there and enjoy the views, then I don't know what will, because that's the most spectacular view I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, when you sent it, I was like, God, that would make such a great postcard.
Oh yeah. That's actually one of the backgrounds in my phone is that.
Yeah, well, that's a good one to have as your background. And you look at this and you're like, there is so much acreage where, I mean, anything, even if it's not Bigfoot, could be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see if I can.
Yes.
Oh, I showed that one. All right, so this one, and I'm going to, can you see this one?
Yes.
Okay. This one, when I looked at it, I went back to Tuesday's show because they had something so similar to this in a picture that they had sent. Yes. So where was this picture taken? What's kind of the story behind that?
So this is also in Radium. Technically not really in Radium. It's like just on the outskirts of our research area. I think the story behind it is we have a very awesome guy who comes out with us pretty much every year. He's one of our group, people that everybody knows who's in the group knows this person. Very, very wonderful human. I've gotten the pleasure to talk to him on the phone a few times, and I think I did a show with him. But they just wanted to go and explore, because when nothing's happening out there, you just kind of want to go and see the sights and drive around and do all this other stuff. So they picked a logging road to drive up, and when they came up this back one that we've never gone up before, they stopped because they saw something, and they walked up into the woods and they found this, and it was just one of those like, I want to go up there type feelings. It wasn't really like a set thing like, hey, I want to go up this trail then walk in. It was just they were driving and they go, something's up there, and they found that. And there's actually a lot of other structures up there. I actually took Brian there on his expedition, and this was, I think, the third or the fourth day of his expedition. So he had already seen everything going on in Radium, and we brought him to this site, which was 5-10 miles away at that point. And he was like, well, that was actually one of the first times I saw it. I was there the week prior, so I went to see it because I needed to know where it was to take Brian. But it's absolutely incredible. And standing in the middle of that, it's still 10, 12 feet high at the peak. It's absolutely spectacular how they did that. I don't know how they do it. And those aren't small either. I mean, they look kind of small in the picture. I think they're
Mhm.
still 3 or 4 inches on the small side, but they're also like 40 feet long, 50 feet long.
Right.
And as you can see in that picture, I don't know how you would take a 40-foot long pole and be able to maneuver it through all those other trees to stick it up into that specific spot without breaking it or even getting it there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a
Right.
long piece of wood to try to put in a specific spot with all these other trees around you. Without
Right.
breaking any other trees, by the way. And also, obviously, it's not wind damage because all of those other trees would have been toppled over and it'd be in a big mess.
Right. Well, and that's, when you have several trees like that and they're that circumference and especially the length, yeah, it would be,
Right.
I just wish we could talk to them and say, what does this mean? We see these things all the time, whether you're thinking, well, this is BS, it's a human that did this, or it's you're in the line of thinking that we do. There has to be, something really tall, really strong with thumbs in the woods making. I mean,
Yeah.
I just want to know what it's for. There has to be some
Neat.
kind of reason.
We need a Rosetta Stone for sure.
we do. Yeah. And we had, I think it was Mike Miller was talking about Ellis was trying to do something like the Rosetta Stone with all the sounds and stuff that he's getting. So I don't know, it's just a really fascinating thing that you see all the time. Okay, can you see this picture?
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh,
so,
okay. There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I see it.
Okay.
Now, I don't remember if that one was in Radium or New York, but a very awesome picture of an impression. Appears to be, a thinner track, but again, in a really great location. You can see it clear as day, at least for me, because I love looking for tracks. It's one of my favorite things to do. But just to kind of show what they look like and what I happen to find. And as you can tell, I can't cast that thing. So it's kind of like a little bit of a hee. Guess what? I'm going to leave you this impression. You're going to find it, but you're not going to be able to do anything but take a picture of it.
You ain't going to be able to capture me with it, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like a game. They're always 10 steps ahead.
Yes. And we hear that too. Always.
Mm-hmm.
They're so much smarter than we are. It's baffling. So this is another, I think this is the last picture you sent me. It's another tree break. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's in Radium. I remember that. Another great example of I don't know how they do tree breaks. Again, it's a very very young tree that breaks only maybe a couple days old, maybe a week old. It is barber chaired a little bit on the top. You can see where it kind of split off in half. But again, there's no pressure marks on it. There's no ways to kind of show how it was broken or why it was broken. It's pointed up the trail. I don't know. It just absolutely boggles my mind how they do it. And I'd love to know why. But I guess we still haven't found that Rosetta Stone, and it's just one of those things. Yeah. It's like you said earlier, it's up to kind of how we want to see it and how we want to, or what we want to believe it means.
Right.
And maybe it means a lot of things. Maybe it's not just one specific thing. Maybe it's, hey, there's water here, or there's people over there. Maybe it's just kind of an arrow, like warning.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all it is, and maybe that's important enough to be able to kill a tree.
Right. To them. Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, again, it's like you said, why would they, if they're protecting and all this other stuff, why? But right. Yeah, that makes sense.
If it mattered all that much, or it didn't matter all that much, why not break a dead tree? Why does it have to be alive? So there's significance in it. It's just finding the significance.
Right. Do you think, and this just came to my head, and I'm probably going to sound like an absolute doofus, but I'm good with that too. So bear will get into trees for like grubs and stuff like that. Do you think that they would do that?
I've never seen it like happen like that. I guess there's always a possibility of it, but then again, on live trees that don't have any sort of sustenance for a bear, why is the bear going to waste its energy on doing something like that
True.
for little to no
Nothing. Yeah.
food?
Right.
I could see maybe if it was like a bigger tree and it was dead, and you're going to see claw marks up and down that tree all the time. You're going to see where they're trying to push the tree over,
Right.
and you're going to see where they've ripped the tree apart on the ground and flipped rocks over in the area and stuff like that. For that, I mean, there are flipped over rocks on that trail specifically, but there's no reason for a bear to do that. And even then, if a bear did that, I'd want to know how he did it, because there's no teeth marks on it.
Right.
There's no scratch marks. There's no claw marks on it.
Yeah. Well, and I was just thinking along the lines of, do you think Bigfoot would get into trees to eat things that were living in them?
Okay. Sorry, I took that wrong.
No, it's okay.
I mean, I don't see why not. It's a great hiding spot, because if you get up in the canopy, nobody's going to go up there and look for you. Great cover from overhead. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, maybe they go after beehives or stuff like that too. There's always that possibility.
So what are some of the most crazy encounters you've had with Todd?
One stands out specifically, and it wasn't even really that crazy. It's just okay. So I spent a lot of time up in Radium by myself. Months now. I've been completely by myself, let alone with other people and on research with Todd and our other people part of that group. And I've never told any of them that I've wanted a rock thrown at me. Nobody ever knew that. I've never had it happen to me before. Yeah. And like I said, I never said anything to anybody. I've been out there that whole time by myself. I've gone out into Bear Alley by myself. Bears don't really come around me, which is a great thing because I don't want any bears around me. But specifically, Todd was out there with me. It was just him and I. I think Ashley might have been out there too, but she was doing something else. Early in the morning, we got up and he was kind of feeling some weird things going on in his head. And I just kind of wanted to go find some berries because I really love, I forget the name of them. There's a certain type of berry out there. Absolutely love those berries, bunch berries. And I wanted to go find them for breakfast, right? So we go out of camp and I'm like, I just want to go this way. And he's like, yeah, I kind of feel that too. So we walk over that way and we just bushwhack in, and right in front of me, there is probably 200, 300 bunch berries on the ground. I was like, oh my God, perfect. This is what I was looking for. So I get down on the ground and I'm picking all these bunch berries, everything like that. Todd is ahead of me to my left a little bit, probably about 10, 15 feet. And he's kneeling down. I don't know what he's doing. I'm not really paying attention. I'm happy with my bunch berries. So, I'm just happy as can be eating. And over on the other side of us, to the right of us, is actually the national forest boundary for Banff. It's right there, maybe 50, 60 yards away. And we don't really go over there. Well, now we do because we found a structure over there. But we never really used to go over there. That was kind of out of our aspect because we never really had anything happen over there. So I'm sitting there eating bunch berries, and Todd just kind of murmurs, "Watch this." And I look at him like, "What?" And all of a sudden, a rock comes out of nowhere over on the boundary side and flies. You can hear it hitting the branches, hitting the tree branches and the leaves and stuff, and just plop right between us and rolls up the bank. And I looked at him like, "Did you just say watch this?" He's like, "I don't know where that came from. I just said it. Like, don't really know." And I was like, "Oh my God, okay, that's crazy. I wanted a rock thrown at me." He's like, what? I'm like, "Yeah, I never told anybody." So I found the rock. It's actually in the camper. I left it there, but it was a perfect throwing rock too. That was really cool. That was one of those like, okay, that was for me. That was 100% for me. And I can't be more happy about that.
Yeah, that's cool. So do you guys experience like the smells and everything like that you hear about?
Oh yeah.
What is And people struggle trying to describe the smell, and I get it. What is that for you as far as the smell goes?
So
What
for
does it
me,
smell like?
it smelled a lot like propane. Just that kind of like musky like rotten eggs type smell. Like you almost felt it when you smelled it, you know?
Yeah.
It's very similar to that, at least for me. Just kind of growing up around that stuff. That's what I attributed it to. For other people, it's probably going to smell different. That's just the pheromones that they give off.
Hmm.
But other than that, you just kind of catch a little bit of a waft of it, and you're like, I'm out in the middle of the woods. Why am I smelling propane? And then you go, oh, okay, I know what that is.
Right. Right. Yeah, I was just curious because you hear different, well, it smelled like, rotten meat or garbage
Yeah.
or a skunk
Right.
or a wet dog. So,
Yeah.
so do you think that
And it
is,
depends on the being.
yeah. So do you
I
think,
mean, if you think about it, like if they're like if they're a tribe, if they're a troop,
Mhm.
they're all gonna have their different personalities, their different ways, their different beliefs, all that other stuff, like just like you and me. So like you're gonna smell naturally different than I'm gonna smell, and I'm gonna smell naturally different from anybody else that I pick off, the street. So I think it's just kind of the same way with them. Whether or not you smell the same exact thing that I do, it's probably just because it's a different being. It's a different,
right,
you know,
right. Do you think they put that smell off for like protection or a get the hell out of here?
So they're very intimidating. They love to be intimidating. I think that's why they stomp around and yell and stuff like that. But I think it's mostly just because they want you to know that they're there.
Hmm.
I think they hint at it a little bit. Like if they see you and they don't really know, maybe they'll kind of go upwind of you just to see if you catch on it, and then you go, oh, what's that? Or maybe if
Yeah.
they knock a tree or something like that, it makes you look. If you don't pay any attention, maybe that's a sign to them like, he's not ready.
Yeah.
But I think it's mostly just to kind of test the waters and see if you're actually paying attention, or see if you're anybody they're even willing to mess with or try to communicate with.
Got you. Got you. Yeah, I was just curious because we do hear that. Um,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
If you're out in the woods and you smell that, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe there's a Bigfoot trying to communicate with you.
Well, hopefully, if it was trying to communicate with me, it wouldn't tend to smell quite so bad.
Fair
They
point.
can, yeah. I mean, they can toss a pebble at me and say, "Hey, I'm over here."
way far in the distance here. Knock, knock. Okay.
Exactly. Don't come up on me stinking. I mean,
It's
I
definitely
have,
surprising when they do that, because for how big they are, man, they can move so quiet. I've had them
oh,
sneak up on me before, and I'm just like, oh, how'd you do that? That's crazy. Okay, I'm
yeah,
not gonna look at you anymore.
exactly. And I don't understand how something seemingly as big as these things are, they're just so stealth, And it's like when my husband saw whatever it was he saw, it was 2 seconds, and it was gone. And I mean, gone. He heard it doing that little through the woods, and it was gone. Just something large and massive. And I mean, you don't know they're there when you go into the woods.
Right.
You just don't hear them.
Yep. They only are heard when they want to be heard. But
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, they're born in it. They grow up in it. They play their games and they do whatever they do, just out there in nature naked, so they gotta.
Mhm.
That's the only way I can explain it, is just they're so used to sneaking up on their prey to eat, and they probably play hide and seek games with each other when they're siblings,
Yeah.
or with their siblings when they're young. So absolutely, they're the masters of the wilderness. They can do just about anything, I think, without being
Right.
detected. I mean, they're that big; they got to eat somehow. So I can
Exactly.
imagine that they can pinpoint a deer with a rock or run it up, run up to it real fast without them even realizing it was there.
And their precision for that is phenomenal. If they're throwing a rock at you, they could knock you out, but they don't. It goes right beside you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And
I've had campfire chats with Todd, and he's told me stories of, you know, when he's doing his backcountry stuff to try to get footage. One specific instance that I remember, he was working along a rock ledge, I think, to try to kind of get up to another level. And they were throwing rocks and they were knocking and they were screaming and doing all their things. And a rock came and literally smashed like right in front of his face on the rock, and it blasted the rock apart into pieces, and it almost blinded him because of it, you know, going into his eyes and stuff. And they would pelt him in the legs with like tiny little pebbles. And he's like, man, it felt like I got shot with like a pellet gun in the calf. He's like, it almost put me on my knees because it hurt so bad. And you got to imagine the accuracy to throw a tiny little rock from who knows how far away, you know,
exactly,
and hit right where you're trying to hit. They must be good at, you know, squirrel hunting.
Right. Right. Thank you, Troy. That is very sweet. Yeah, I've always thought it was the precision that the Bigfoot have. It's boggling. So, in your opinion, what do you think they are? What are they?
What do I think they are? Meaning,
yeah, what do you think Bigfoot is?
Like flesh and blood versus like being able to like teleport and stuff?
Well, I mean, we can go there. I'm down to go there. I was just asking your general opinion of what you think a Bigfoot is.
I mean, I think they're a sentient species of, I guess maybe I'm going to say it wrong. I'm probably going to say it wrong. Humanoid or hominid or hominin, one of the three that I picked. But I think they're sentient. I think they absolutely are very in tune with their spiritual side, and they're very tight-knit family groups. Absolutely. I mean, it just makes sense. Absolutely, it just makes sense. The way they move, the way they triangulate, the way they are, the way they survive, the way that they've been living for who knows how long without our detection. I mean, we're talking, we're in the technology that we have.
Yeah.
That we can do almost what, I mean, we can launch rockets thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
You know, but we can't find this species. So they're doing something right. And for me, it only kind of makes sense that we haven't found them because they can evade that technology, which means they must be able to do some sort of cloaking. But I can't say that because I don't have any firsthand account of that. I've never seen one just disappear in front of my eyes. I've talked to people who have had stuff like that happen to me. And the people that I've talked to have been very close, very trustworthy people. And I've had no reason to not, or to disprove or discount what they say. So for me, and I've said it before, the teleportation and the cloaking and all that stuff, I kind of have to shelf it for now. It's on the bookshelf. It's there. I just can't talk about it right now because I don't have enough information on it. And same with like orbs and stuff like that. UFOs, have seen UFOs. Brian was out there with me. We all saw UFOs together. So that's not, that's not a thing that I branch out into, but I find very, very interesting. That, Bigfoot and UFOs kind of have the same, like people talk about them in the same instance, or people have seen them together.
Yes.
And I know I'm kind of derailing my conversation, but I just want to talk about it real quick.
No, I'm here. I'm telling you, you talk.
So there's a correlation in some aspect with Bigfoot and UFOs. I think we can all say that that's true, right?
Right.
So I think if Sasquatch are as spiritual as they are and as in tune with nature and the way they are with nature, they're going to be attracted to ley lines, and they're going to be attracted to vortexes and energy and stuff like that. Now, if there's some sort of other species out there that are much higher knowledge, and they're able to transport themselves, I guess you could say, or travel to other parts of the universe very fast, and they were studying us or studying our evolution or whatever the case may be, they're interested in us somehow. Wouldn't they be attracted to the same things? Wouldn't they be attracted to the vortices, and wouldn't they be attracted to the high energy locations, and whatever spiritual significance there is, whether it be caves or ley lines or magnetic field arrays? Probably botched that last term, but whatever.
Okay.
I think they're just attracted to the same things. I think it's just why we kind of see them together, or why we attribute them to the same kind of aspect of our knowledge, because we don't know enough about either of them, but we seem to see them together. So that's kind of my only theory on it. But what we were talking about before, like I said, I don't have enough experience to talk about the cloaking and that type of stuff. I'm not gonna talk about it right now. I know for a fact that they are a living species. They are flesh and blood. They do eat, sleep, and use the bathroom like every other human or every other animal pretty much out there. Other than that, that's just what they are. And I think they're very, very intelligent, and I think that's why they've been able to evade us for so long. But on the other hand, too, I think that there's a little bit of, cover up to that. We can get into that.
Yeah. I mean,
but I also don't want my show to be shut off automatically for no reason.
Please don't make me part of this cancel culture. Damn it, Kyle. That's fun. No, I'm totally picking up what you were putting down. So we will save both of our asses and stop right there with that conversation. Well, we are already over an hour. So, but that's what we talked about. You like to talk, I like to talk. They were just in trouble tonight.
I get off on tangents. I get in these tangents, and like one point leads to another, and I'm like, oh, but I can talk about that. Then I get into that for 30 minutes. So
yeah. I mean, I have no plans. My daughter's 15 and she's got her AirPods and her dog, and my husband's working an overnight shift. I mean, I'm free.
Fair enough. Depends on how long everybody wants to watch us babble about this stuff, I guess.
Well, it's our crew. They're here for it. But we can.
Thanks everybody who's still watching at this point.
Yeah. We have a very faithful crew, and they're very interactive. And you have quite a few questions if you want me to get into some of them.
Yeah, let's get into it. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, first off, Goonie Goo Goo, thank you for the $2.99. I appreciate that. Chris Boylock said, how do you think we can get to the next level in proving its existence?
I think it's going to take just more of us getting out in the woods, getting off our phone, getting off the internet, getting out, getting our bare feet in the dirt, getting our hands in the water, and just going out there and being one with nature again, and doing your camping trips and just getting out and breathing the fresh air, get away from your phone. That's going to be what it takes, is just more people doing that. They come around, from what I have experienced, when you're not worried about what bill you're going to pay or how you're going to pay it or going back to work on Monday. They just want to see you out there living. And I think that's a very significant part of it. As for like proving their existence, I mean, you're just going to have to probably take some video cameras with you. But just having encounters with them and being respectful of their environment and respectful of what we're doing to their environment, I can only hope that it would bring them out more and make them be a little bit more friendly with us. And that would provide us with more encounters and more knowledge and more understanding of them. So it just starts with shutting your phone off.
Yeah.
Go for a hike.
Yeah. Go be a human. Go out and be like wild and zany and loud, because they're going to be drawn to you because they're naturally curious. Don't go in there and whisper and tiptoe. Be freaking
if you're being sneaky, then they don't like, well, not that they can say they don't like that, but if you're being sneaky, it probably puts off the wrong energy.
Yes. Let's see. Troy in Tennessee wants to know how many Class A, B, or C encounters have you had?
Now, is that with UFOs or is that with Bigfoot?
Bigfoot.
I'm gonna say Bigfoot.
Yes.
Class A being like sighting. To at least two. There might be another one in there, maybe three. It just kind of depends on if I was right in being that was a Sasquatch or not. B, I've had a lot of instances where I've heard yells, wood knocks, tree breaks. I've heard tree breaks being made. I've heard them stomp through the woods. There's a lot of Class Bs. Class C, not sure kind of what stipulates into a Class C, but maybe just kind of hearing them or whatever the case may be. There's quite a few of them. It's bad to the point because a lot of people are going to blast me because like, oh, you should remember every sighting you've had. Anybody would remember every detail. When you've had so many and you've been involved with it for so long and you've heard so many other people's stories, they just kind of fade out. Honestly, I just don't really remember some of them, or I'll think about it and be like, oh, I remember that happened, but it's too late now, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been quite a few.
All right. Ristel said, have you been working with Logan at all with the Radium live stream? Any promising captures?
So absolutely love Logan. Logan is by far one of my favorite friends. Him and I try to keep in touch with him as much as I can. He's got a busy life. The Radium live stream has been a very promising thing. I maybe not have been involved with it as much as I'd like to have been. But that's also because it's very technology based, and you're talking about like Wi-Fi, and you're talking about like a streaming platform or whatever the case. I don't even know how to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's how removed I am from that stuff. And he's a tech whiz, very, very intelligent guy. He built the app and everything pretty much from I guess what nothing would be on the internet side. I did talk to him a little bit about it when we first kind of came out. They gave him some ideas. He threw some pictures and like the app when it was very new at me and was just like, hey, what do you think of this? Should we change this? What do you think of this font or this background, stuff like that I helped on. Other than that, I haven't been up there in a year. So I haven't had the opportunity to get up there and get on camera or help with any setup process. We did have Starlink the last year that I was there. That was still very new to us. From what I can tell, the live streams that I've been watching have been super clear. Yeah. I don't know how they do it. I give props to Logan for that. I'd love to be a little bit more of a part of it, but I don't know if I would do any benefit to it because I'd probably log in wrong and blow the whole system up or something. Other than that, no, it's absolutely, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically up in our research area in Radium, at our base camp, we have live stream cameras up. And if you are subscribed to it, you can move the camera around. You have control over the camera, zooming, night vision or day vision. You can move the camera to a different location. It does have sound and stuff like that on it. They're very, very great quality cameras and super great picture quality too. I don't know, like I said, how they do it, but definitely go check it out. That's the bare bones of what we do. That's where we are. That's where we spend our time if we're not out hiking and doing our research. If there's an actual expedition going on, you can hear the campfire chats. You can hear what people are talking about. You can hear the wood knocks off in the distance. It's if you can't make it or are just kind of not really that into it and you want to go watch them, it kind of gives you like that backseat open door view of what we do there. So I think it's really a really cool. Immersive way to be a part, really, really immersive way to be a part of our group and of the Discovering Bigfoot collective without even really having to fly out to Canada to do it.
Yeah. And it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Much cheaper.
All right. Troy wants to know again, Kyle, I have frozen. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. My screen's frozen on this god awful face. There we go.
There you
That was awful. Sorry, y'all. Kyle, do you research in any areas other than radium?
Right now, no. I try to stay kind of in one area. I like to just kind of be a part of one troop or one tribe of them. Just because I like to habituate with a single group or a single individual in it. And there's a couple that I have had relatively close connection to, I guess we'll say. So I try not to kind of taint that. I'd rather almost not go to other areas, just because I don't know how that tribe or that troop or those individuals are going to react or act with me there, being that I have knowledge of them and I've interacted with others. I don't know if they can on that or whatnot. And just I don't know the land, I don't know the area. And maybe if I had a guide or had somebody to kind of bring me out there and show me what's going on and then actually live interact with one, and then I could trust a little bit more, and I would probably go back. But right now, Radium is really my only area that I like to go back to, because I know they're not going to throw a rock at me in the middle of the night, try to kill me. So that's pretty important for me.
There's always that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chris wants to know, have you tried to get eDNA from your tracks?
I have not. That is well outside of my range of research. I don't have the technology capability for that. I'd love to learn more about it, and I probably will now that you asked. I know that there are a lot of researchers out there that are branching into that and actually collecting DNA, which is super amazing. I think that's extraordinary. And I think we need more of that, to be completely honest with you. It is something that I probably should get into. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I love when questions are asked, at the end of the show, because you're getting different people's perspectives and different things that they're knowledgeable in, that, it just gives you a whole different avenue.
Right.
Troy wants to know, is the picture with his hand a six-toed figure?
I don't know. I'm not sure. In that sphagnum moss, it's very hard to tell. Like, you can see, you can see where I guess it would look like a six-toed figure. But with sphagnum moss, maybe there's a stick there that ripped it out a little bit more when he stepped on. There's really no way to kind of tell unless you saw the individual or stepped in mud and gave you a little bit better of an impression and were able to see that.
Right.
I'm going to say no, just because I've never had a six-toed track. It would be absolutely incredible to know an individual that does have six toes.
Yes.
I'm just not going to say for sure that is or that isn't. I think it's probably not.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. Let me get back here. I don't know if this is a question for you or just a question comment. Did you know possums have what looks like an opposable thumb? They're creepy.
I think raccoons do too. I love possums. My buddy's got I probably shouldn't say that. I don't know. Whatever state it's legal. Whatever state is legal to have a possum as a pet, my buddy has one.
I think the longer we talk, the more in trouble we get.
Yeah,
that's funny. Let me just make sure there's not any more follow-up questions that I missed.
Sure.
Let's see. Is there any way, where do we go to see Radium live stream?
So there is an app. I'm pretty sure it's called Discovering Bigfoot. If not, you can go on the Discovering Bigfoot fan page. And we do post some stuff up there every once in a while, or Logan does, that has links to that live stream, where you can just go on, I think, the website to download the app, or you can just look it up on iOS or Google Play.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I've enjoyed having you. You're always welcome back. I
appreciate that.
Yeah, we get each other in trouble. I don't want to cancel you, and you don't want to cancel me, and so we got to quit while we're ahead.
It's also getting pretty late for everybody out there. So
yeah, it's 11:15 here. So,
yep.
So, but do reach back out to me because you have some phenomenal stuff. I know just from being up there in Radium and even around your area that we can share.
Absolutely. Anytime you got an opening, let me know. I'd be happy to come back.
Well,
maybe we'll have some more questions too. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah. They are so amazing at asking questions, and they ask these really great questions. So I always love this portion. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, when Todd does his live streams, and we'll get a lot of pictures and well, not pictures. We'll get a lot of people who come on and ask really good questions. I'm like, I've known Todd for years, and I've never even thought to ask him that question. Like he slept on my couch. I've never thought to ask him that, you know?
And then it makes you feel like an idiot. You're like, damn, why didn't I think of that?
Right. Why do I not know that?
Right. Well, I'm sure you have tons more stuff that we can talk about. So yeah, reach back out to me. You have my email address. I am very responsive to emails, phone calls, texts, all that good stuff. So, and we will have you back on.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And just for everybody out there,
oh yes, please do promote yourself. I'm sorry.
I don't want to put it out too much because I'm not 100% sure on like the dates and what it's going to come out to and title, stuff like that. There is a documentary, or I guess a 6-part series with me in it, from New York. So that should be coming out this year, which is huge. I also am planning to go back to Radium this year, specifically mid-September. And I do have somebody in mind that I plan on inviting. Hopefully he can make it. I think it'd be very, very big to have him out there and be a part of discovering Bigfoot. And we'll just kind of see how it works. And if that doesn't work, I'll just have Brian come back out. I'm sure he'd love to come back out.
Be like, hey, Brian. Let's take a trip.
Hey, buddy. Got an idea for you. What do you do in September?
That's funny. Well, is there anything you have coming up other than that? Any links that we can talk about that people can go to find you?
I don't have anything quite yet. You can look me up on Instagram, Discovering Bigfoot Podcast, and I am on YouTube. You can look that up too. That is under Sylvanic Bigfoot, under his channel, under Todd's channel. So all my shows are on that. And like I said, that new series should be coming out the end of the year. I've also been on Cowboy TV, Cowboy channel. That was the other episodes, I think, that I was on. So yeah. And then of course, all the other podcasts that are out there. I've been on Sasquatch Odyssey. I've been on the Bigfoot Report now, KYX Files. I've been on Cam's show, Dixie Cryptid. I've been on all of them. So if you want to hear any more stories, there's a bunch of them out there. So,
we appreciate, when we appreciate you reaching out and saying, hey, I've never been on your show. Can I be on your show? Because I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love going on new shows. I love meeting new people. Everybody that I've ever met in the Sasquatch community has been super amazing people. I try to keep in contact with everybody that I can. I'm not good at it sometimes, but life happens. So
life happens. It's okay. Well, if you want to, you can email me those links and I will send them to Wayne. When this goes to podcast, we will include those links within the show notes.
All right. Sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right. Of course. Thank you again, Kyle. You have a good rest of your night.
You too.
All right. Bye. God, I did it again, y'all. It's over an hour, but it's okay. I don't care. I talk a lot. We currently do not have anyone lined up for Tuesday, so I am going to work on that. So you just have to stay tuned, and I will let you in Discord. I will let you know. Speaking of, let me go back through here because we have a very new member. Verax, thank you so much for joining the Bigfoot Report family. And if you send me an email I will send you a link to Discord and you can go in there and check everything out. I'm very interactive in Discord. Everybody is very interactive in Discord. I mean, it's just a fun place to be. So send me an email and I will get you that link. And thank you for becoming a member, man. We have a new family member. That's so cool. But I will keep you guys posted on a guest for Tuesday. And until I see you then, have a good night. Thank you for coming, and we'll talk to you later.